Hey guys, Rebecca Todd here, and we are here in my backyard, which is where I have my veggie garden. So I wanted to come on here today for a multitude of reasons. Frankly, I am so busy in my garden, either working out here myself or inside canning vegetables, and you see also enjoy cooking some sourdough. So I was like, I need to get something up on my channel. I've been talking about doing a garden tour, so I thought I would try to do it live. Now the problem, there's a bypass behind me. You may not be able to hear me really well. I've also got a very funky contraption here hooked up to my inside Wi-Fi, because our mobile Wi-Fi somehow we have lost the cable to it, so I can't have it outside. So it's going to be a little bit tricky moving from location to location. So I just really hope that you guys will give me just a little bit of grace in dealing with that when I move from place to place. I'll try to stay put as much as I can and look at some of your questions and answer them. But right now is a great time if you are just checking this out. It's a great time for you to send out a text to a few friends, say, hey, if you're into gardening, this chick is brand new at gardening and she's going to talk to you about some problems that she's run into. And there have been a few. So let me go ahead and see right now. Live vid and sound good. Thank you so much, Phil Woody. Chuck Nasty Sports, that garden looks awesome. My fiance would love it. We'll send her a text and tell her to hop on. Thank you about the remark about the trailer, Phil. That's just a little reel that I put out showing where I started and where it's gone to. So let me get this part out of the way first. I am blessed. I am hugely blessed. Okay, I have got some great mentors that have answered some questions for me. Andy K with Get Your Wellies on YouTube, he's one of them, and Karen Kelly, my good friend that also takes care of our puppies when we are out of town and any training needs I need, she has helped me as well. And then I've done a lot of research. So all of you people out there on social media that are putting out videos, reels, whatever, about gardening tips or things to do, things not to do, I just want to tell you right now, I greatly appreciate it. And I'll be putting out a video at some point about the my main three channels or platforms that I follow that have really helped me a lot on this journey. But when it comes down to it, it's really all about just diving in and figuring some stuff out on the fly. I mean, some things you can read about, you can read research about, which I'm big into research, okay, that is my background. But some things you just have to get your hands dirty, literally, okay, and figure those things out. And so I've got another video that I just filmed, my 3 biggest regrets in my first year of gardening, and so I'm not going to jump into those because I'll put that out here in just a couple of weeks. Today's subject, gardening problems. And what I wanted to say first, I already told you I am blessed. People in my corner, but also hugely blessed that I'm able to spend such a large time back here learning, and that's a big thank you to my husband. Some of you may know him as Monster Michael Todd, World Arm Wrestling Champion. I just call him Honey, Babe, a few other pet names, Michael Todd. He makes it so that I don't have to be back at the bedside working. And so I can focus a lot of time here learning and doing. And I know many people that love gardening are not blessed with that time. So I just want to say thank you, honey, for making sure that I can do that. And the more that you guys watch and share, the more I can do this. And I absolutely love it. It is, I have to say, this journey, while it's very trying at times, physically, mentally, it has been one of the most enlightening and uplifting journeys that I have began. My mental health, that my daughter says my mental health is literally dug into this soil here, because it is. Just being out here in the sun, planting things, watching them thrive, or when something looks like it's not going to do well, able to bring it back. That just is the whole nother kind of benefit that I was not expecting to feel, because I'm a nurturer at heart. I guess that's why I'm a nurse mom, grandma. And nurturing these things from the soil all the way up to where I can harvest them and take them into my kitchen has been hugely uplifting. So for those of you out there that are thinking about getting into gardening, highly recommend just jump in, start. There are people right now that are just beginning to get their gardens ready or getting their seeds ready for fall and winter planting. So it is not too late. Go ahead and get started. The Drew 24 says, I want my own garden. Well, get you one. Today's the day. Start now. But I have ran into some issues. And I'll start with the smallest ones first, okay? Some gardening problems. Things that I did not anticipate were like how much soil you're gonna need, and it needs to be garden-rich soil. I am lucky that our nursery nearby has got what they call super soil, which is, of course, it's ready for the garden, ready to go right in. It's neutral, so if you need to add more acidity, you can do some lime or whatever to it. But it's already got compost into it. And you can buy it by the cubic yard at like $42 a cubic yard. A lot cheaper than buying them by the bag. And so that made things a lot easier, but I'm always needing more soil. And that could that's probably because my dream keeps expanding. And best tomatoes on earth are garden fresh ones. That is true, Chuck Nasty Sports. So what I want to tell you, Michael Todd told me that this whole space, I'm going to pan this for you so you can see it. Oops. This whole space, we're going to move that jungle gym. Goes all the way around there. Here in just under 2 weeks, they're going to move this fence and extend my backyard. And guys, what that means is I'm going to have 1,000 square foot to garden with. So that's the other problem. There's never enough room. There's never enough space. Right now I'm sharing this space with my grandbabies and my dogs, right? So I do have the occasional mishap. Bandit, I love you, but you're an asshat. Bandit that likes to go into the garden beds. The good news is he does try to step around plants, but he eats all of the leaves off only my green bean bushes. Not get any green beans. But the good news is, because of this big fence, I also don't have to deal with deer, and I have not had any rabbit come in here and tear my stuff up. Yeah, Chuck, I'm really excited about it. I think it is going to be amazing as well. So, not enough room. Didn't expect soil. But those are still just, those aren't really problems, okay? That's not anything that makes you go, oh, I just want to quit. I want out of this. Another problem is, there is so much information out there on social media, and while I'm very thankful for it, it's also a lot of conflicting information. So where I'll follow some people that say, let's talk about my cucumber plants, for instance. Might be a good time to move. Hang on, let's move over there to the cucumber plants. And I'm sorry, like I said, this is going to be an ordeal. I'm a one-man show. One person building all of this, one person filming all of this. So hang on just a minute. I'll be right there. Hope I don't make y'all too dizzy. Just a minute. All right, so let me see if I can show you this real quick. Also, something else that could totally happen, this camera could shut off because it gets hot. If that does, it'll just go to my laptop video. So here's my cucumbers. You see the roots down there? They grow all the way over there. All the way over there. So I'm going to move this to the other side so it can get to where it's got a little bit more shade. So I'm moving you again. Sorry again, folks. We need to turn just a little bit, don't we? I think we can back up. Nobody needs to see me that close. All right, so my cucumber plants. Great example in the difference. Sorry. Oops, don't unplug, don't unplug. Got a rock, hang on. The difference that you get on social media, someone might say as soon as you get your first sets of flowers, harshly prune all the way up, cutting the tendrils, the sun leaves, and the blooms to the top. And then someone else says, I don't really do any pruning on my cucumbers until I start getting in vegetables. All right, so that is one of those areas where you just got to jump in and do it. And like I said, I'm very much into research. Let's move you a little bit more out of the sun. Very much into research, but, oh, there is no but. I'm very much into research, so I was totally fine with, I was like, you know what? I'm going to prune harshly half of them, and the other half, I'm going to just let grow. So what ends up happening, see if I can show you. Okay, all the way down on that end is the end that I pruned harshly. This end, down here, I just let grow. So what did you find out, right? That's what it is. What I found out was harsh pruning, anytime that you take more than a third of the plant, it goes into shock. You might actually lose that plant. But it's not going to grow very much. I've actually had to pull 2 up because it just killed them. So do not do that, all right? Do not do that. And I'm not really a big supporter of just letting them go crazy, because cucumbers plants become a mess. You definitely have to have something, which I've gone through a couple of different trellises. That'll be in my video later on, to support them. So my best advice for pruning cucumbers, keep the leaves off the ground, cut off anything that looks diseased, and when you start having fruit develop, if it is trellised, cut some of those leaves around it so it can get some sunlight as well. I've noticed that my cucumbers that do not get exposure to the sun, that are just completely covered with leaves, are pale. They don't turn green. Some of them stay white with just a few green speckles. So that would be my advice there. Let me see. Put phone under shade, at least, y'all. Sun here in Vegas is a phone killer. Oh, it's not a phone. It's on my Sony. It's on my Sony. Being able to be self-sufficient, if need be, completely off the grid if something happens. You know, that is where I would like to go eventually. But like I said, just this little bit that I have, which is what I've got 2 that are 4x8 plus another 3x3 and then a whole lot of potted containers. In the beginning, it was eating my lunch. I'm talking about I was out here 60 hours a week. And that's the stuff nobody tells you about. Because you're out here getting soil ready, planting, yes. But once stuff starts growing and it starts going crazy, you got to stay on top of it. Because there's a whole lot of pests that want your veggies. And sometimes they want them more than you do. And so you want to just start picking them off early. So I'm out here now in the mornings and in the evenings going through looking for pest damage and getting rid of it. And that has helped me out a lot. So let's get into another problem. Another problem is not really knowing how much a plant is going to grow and spread. Now, I've got plants that I bought as plants, baby plants, and then I've got things that I've planted as seed. I would think that the ones that I planted as seed a good month and a half before the plants that I bought would be doing well now. Let me show you this. All right, we're gonna go down here to my pepper plants. What? Excuse me, guys. Okay. So here's my pepper plants. Let me see if it, let's see. Okay. Right here, this is one that I bought beginning of season, but I had already planted the seeds. This is another that I bought at the beginning of season. Now the seeds that I had planted ahead are these guys. That one way back over there. Itty bitty. Why? Someone tell me why. Both of these started even smaller than these guys. But I'm telling you, these were started as seed March 25th. They should be more than that now. So sometimes I think that seeds that you get are just not of good quality. And that is absolutely a possibility, because in the beginning I was trying to save as much as I could, and so I did go the cheap route. So I'm going to say this is probably where putting in a little bit more money on the front end might get you in a better position on the back end. And when I said not knowing how big plants are going to get, so these are green and red bell pepper plants. These get rather bushy, supposed to, right? And so you need to know how much space. I had to pull up one that was back there because it was being dwarfed completely by the cucumbers. I didn't get rid of it. Let me move this. Hi again. I didn't get rid of it. I just repotted it. It's over there in one of its own little pots now, and it's living happily ever after. Actually starting to put out fruit now as well. So that's all really good. But still yet, none of these are huge problems. Conflicting information on social media, not a big deal. We learn more by doing anyway, right, than we do watching videos, although watching the videos does help get you started. So definitely binge a few of those. And the next problem is more of a real problem. And that is basically how to get the right amount of irrigation to plants that have different irrigation needs. Let me show you this. Okay, if I point this down, here we go. You guys can see the little black spidery looking thing. Okay, that is my irrigation that I put in. I'm currently not really using that. I'm watering by hand because I know the different needs. The tomatoes over there on that side, they need plenty of water, right? The parsley, right here, the beans, marigolds, basil, they like water, but they don't want to be standing in it. Where the tomatoes, they can be pretty damp and do good. So what is good about this irrigation system that I put in and that I'm just getting to figure out. I've gone by hand to figure out what each one needs. Those little red and blue ends, those can now be adjusted to where it controls how much water comes out. So I can adjust it so that my tomatoes back there get more of a flow in the amount of time that I have the timer set for, and the others get less of a flow. So that helps. Oh, hey guys, I want to show you this. This is the nurse in me. Are y'all ready to see this? This is the nurse in me. Do y'all see it back there? Do you see the paper towel roll around my bean plant along with a little fiberglass stake? That's splinting. That's what nurses do, right? We see something that's bent where it's not to be bent. Put a splint around that sucker and so it can grow straight, and it's actually doing much better. But those are some of my bean plants that Bandit has been coming in here, and if you look closely you can see his footprints, and eating the leaves off of my bean plants. Bandit, the hell, dude. Let me move this again, guys. Sorry. Oh, Rebecca, you can't sit on it and move it. Okay, now we're going up, I would think. Oh, nope. Sorry, guys. Oh, holy cow. Don't need you looking down my shirt either, so let's bring this up high. Hey, someone said they wanted me to flex. My husband is all the time asking me, hey, will you flex? I don't want to do that shit. You want to see me flex? Come out here and see me when I'm working, all right? When I'm using a shovel, you know, or carrying around big boulders. That's when you can see me flex, all right? Maybe different fertilizers is what Chuck Nasty Sports says. If you're talking about my bell peppers, maybe. Bandit is a perfect angel. He would never do anything like that. Except he does. He was just in it again last night. I thought I had him trained to stay away from it because he didn't get into it for probably 2 weeks. Just long enough for my bean plants to start growing some leaves again. Then he got in there and he ate them. The hell, Bandit? You know what I mean? It's so aggravating, right? So these are all pretty minor stuff. You know, you've got trellising, you've got different watering needs, you've got plants that if you buy them as seed or if you buy them as, you know, bushes, they might have different growth rates. And maybe that won't end up being a bad thing, because if these that are smaller actually start taking off, maybe they'll just start producing as these others are not producing anymore. So, hey, silver lining, right? But I have one situation that is absolutely breaking my heart. And it is something that no gardener wants to deal with. And it makes me so sad. People are like, why are you going to cry over your vegetables? Well, like I said, I'm a nurturer, and it's not just my mental health is sown into this soil. My time, my effort, my caring. Y'all, before we went to East versus West back in April, I knew a bunch of rain was coming. I covered all of this, which wasn't near this big then. Okay, it wasn't near this big. But I had baby plants in here too. I covered all of it with visqueen and set it up on irrigation so it wouldn't get too much water, because the other death of plants is too much water. You got too little, you got too much, all right? And I needed to make sure they were warm too, so I've made sure of that. You get through all of that and you grow some big plants and they start producing and you're so proud. And then overnight, there's death. You come out and for no reason at all, there's a horrible wilt over the entire plant in the morning. So this is not in the evening after a hot day. The first one was about a month ago. You come out and there's wilt over the entire plant. The plant is dead. I'm like, holy shit, what happened to you? Dug it up. If you guys saw the video about the things that I do, things that I learned as a nurse that I now do in my veggie garden, That was it. It was that plant. Dug it up, removed soil around it, because as a nurse, I know if this dude over here is infectious, anything around him that he touched is probably infectious. So I removed as much of the soil as possible. There's still other plants in there, right? And crossed my fingers, said a prayer, went on about my day. Everything was good for a month. And then out of nowhere, that was a cherry tomato plant. Out of nowhere, second plant, overnight, death. Ozark pink tomato plant, the big tomatoes. Sorry, Mom. My mom was wanting big tomatoes. She's really disappointed I'm growing so many cherry tomatoes, which I love. She wanted big tomatoes, so my big tomato plant. So that one had so many tomatoes on it, green. One of them was just starting to turn. So I pulled all the tomatoes off, carried that plant out, because you don't want to put it in your compost pile, because at this point, highly suspect it's a bacterial infection. There's 2 different wilts that affect tomatoes like that, and highly suspect it. So I carried that plant out to the burn pile. Did the same thing, removed as much dirt. Now I'm totally expecting that it's going to start to spread to the other plants. 2 days later, third plant down. Also, my only other Ozark pink, right? So the good news is, about a week ago, I did buy 2 beef master, I think it's what it's called, beef boy tomato plants. They're supposed to be more resistant. Didn't put them there. I will never put anything there again. So they're out here in containers. So eventually, month, 2 months, I will have some nice big tomatoes, should nothing happen to those. I always say, God willing, because even though I'm looking at bell peppers on plants right here now, I know that tomorrow I could come out here and they'd just be gone, right? But that second Ozark pink tomato, dug it up, and the burn pile. There's still 2 cherry tomato plants in that same bed. I couldn't move them. I mean, I guess I could. I could have moved them to another container separately. That might have been, literally just now thought about that. That might have saved them, because I suspect this is moving through the soil, through the roots that were left, right, through the soil. Fully expect to lose those. Just saying a prayer that they last until I'm able to harvest some off of them. And then I came out this morning, and all I can do is show you. So hang on right there, and I'll take you around to it. Alright, hang on just a minute, guys. Taking you for a ride one last time. Just keep wondering if I'm going to make a blooper with this and actually like face plant over something eventually. Come on, don't let that rock catch us. Let me pull this up and pull this over easily. Oops. Are we still on? Yeah, we're still on. Okay. So, let me just maybe carry this over here while I talk to you, and then I'll come back and set it down in the shade. So here it is. This is what happens. And I know a lot of people will say, well, it's just because it's facing the evening sun. And I do have a shade cloth coming But what I'm telling you is, you come out and one day it's healthy, like this one over here, like that one over there. See, beautiful leaves. And then the next day you come out and the whole thing is wilted, and it's not a brown, yellow, it is a green wilt. And it is not a watering problem. This plant was just watered like everything else in this garden this morning. So the only thing that can be assumed is it is in fact a bacterial or fungal infection. Now this is where it gets cute. Hang on just a minute. Moving my bench. So this is where it gets cute. Turn it around. I know that, I know that Phil Woody is watching from the UK. I think the majority of the rest of you are from here in the States. Hang on, let me tighten this up, guys. There we are. Okay, we got back. So, oh, that's way too close though. Still think we need to come in a little bit more. Hey. These one-man shows are so much fun. Michael Todd, this is what you're missing out on if you could just do this by yourself. Let's just have a look at my grandkids swing set. How about that? That's cute, right? Okay. Even better. I really appreciate you guys, all of you hanging out for all of this commotion. One more second. Even better. Check this out. There you go. Much better shade coverage. Okay. So, the wilt. This is the best part. I don't think y'all are ready for this. We have extension offices here, Phil, talking to you in the UK. And extension offices are supposed to be able to help us with things like soil testing, or if you have plants go out with bacterial testing, you know, things like that. And so I call them, and the guy says, yeah, that sounds bad, probably is bacterial, but we can't test it because the guy that did that quit, and there's a backup. They just didn't think it was necessary to replace him, and right now we got plants from April and this is June. now it's July 1st, that we haven't tested yet. So he was absolutely no help. But that still, with all of that, I know from reading, I am watering them like crazy, hoping they come out of it. I have some that look the same. I thought I burned them with fertilizer. Well, burning, though, you'll start to see some spots and stuff on them, right? And I do soil, slow release fertilizer. And I have come through with some calcium, you know, to keep from having the blossom end rot. But anyways, back to the bacterial stuff. Just reading about it, the 2 different types of wilt, I wish I could tell you what they were, but I cannot remember right now at this time. It's probably on my phone somewhere. And the thing is, or the bad part of it is, when I told you that no gardener wants to deal with it, according to different websites, and I'm talking about actual college where they do the studies, soil studies websites, I cannot plant tomatoes or peppers in that bed for 5 at minimum, but most likely 10 years. Not a big deal, really, when you think about, well, my hubby's gonna make sure that I have like 1,000 square foot garden. But still, it's heartbreaking. And if I come out here and that plant in the morning is miraculously picked back up, I'm going to come in here and tell you guys that I was wrong. But that's exactly what the other 3 have done, and I fully expect it'll only look worse in the morning and I'll have to pull it up. I'm just hoping that leaving it in there a little bit longer gives those tomatoes on it just a little bit more time to mature. And I have no doubt it's going to hit the other one as well. So what can you plant where these wilts are? Cannot plant tomatoes, cannot plant peppers. I told you that already. Some places say you can't even do okra, squash, stuff like that. So y'all tell me, what would your ideas be? Get some of the Monsters homemade fertilizer, 1 in 10 mix. Best source of nitrogen, organic, and free. If you are talking about poop, no thank you, Craig, not doing that. You talking about our yard here, peaceful? Oh yeah, it has helped with oxygen and stuff, you know. So I do have to remember that, right? I can't just bitch about everything as much as I want to. But anyways, that's what I feel. Okay, just a second. I'm trying to see if I can find the name of that. Verticillium wilt, is that what it was? Verticillium wilt is one of them. And okay, that is a fungal disease. That one is not bacterial. And the fungus blocks the tubes, preventing water flow, and causes the plant to wilt. And those also poison, those toxins then poison the plant, and it just kills it. So that sucks, you know. And there was another one, but I'm pretty sure it was that one that I thought sounded the most like it. The other one, it was another wilt that affects tomatoes. But I think that its leaves actually turn brown, and these leaves just stay green. And they just don't come back from it. Humus grown fertilizer is from human poop. Ew. Ew. Hola, Rebecca Todd. Beautiful garden. Thank you so much. My heart and soul is out there in that bed. All right, guys, so enough of the sad stuff. Garden problems. My computer is running low on battery. So really quick, what are your ideas? What more? And by the way, I'm taking the fall and winter off to prepare this and plan for what this 1,000 square foot garden is going to look like. I think I have to have some fruit trees, don't you guys? Don't I need some orchards? So, and the other thing I want to know is, once I get my 1,000 square foot garden, how many more steps is it to convince the monster that I need chickens? I want some chickens. And then I want some goats. And where does it stop? With a llama? I don't know, but I'm very, very excited about it. So, but what should I put in besides some fruit trees? Of course, tomatoes and cucumbers. Now, these beds are raised beds. Even these that are on the end, both ends, those were dug down about 2 foot, and I put in that super soil from the garden, from the gardening center, right? So I've got a compost pile that if this would reach, that I would show you guys that I'm making, and it's huge. It's a huge, so I'll have some of my own compost, and that is just from veggies, grass clippings, leaves, you know, things like that, and some soil out there, pine clippings, you know, manure, things like that. Black cow manure is what it's called. It's actually treated, whatever. So that's all sown into the compost. So I'll have my own compost. But nothing that's in these beds will be in those beds, because I understand that you don't want to put the same stuff in the same place. You want to, like, rotate your crops. That's actually biblical, guys. Did you know that? Rotate your crops. So what else should I plant? I feel like I want, for sure, some things like watermelon, cantaloupe, things that I have not had success with, like no success. How much battery? 4%. I'm going down fast. I've had no success with so far. Eggplant. Started those from seed. Those plants are right here. Started those from seed March 25th. Thrown many of them out. Have not had success with broccoli. Not broccoli. Have not had success with Brussels sprouts or cauliflower. From seed, those produce nothing for me. And again, it could be that I bought cheap seeds. I don't know. Do I want to give it another chance or not? Herbs are doing great for me. I've planted numerous beets. Have not seen one damn beet green growing. You guys, leave in the comments things that I should consider, and extra bonus points if you tell me what they grow well with, or what not to put them beside. That's very helpful to me as well. But radish, hey David, come see me. I plant in strip beds 3 by 36 with strip of grass in between that you don't mow, just walk on. Well, I think in between I'm going to put marigolds. I want to plant, because I'm going to have so many marigold seeds, because I have marigolds in every bed right now. I think I'm going to plant marigolds because they're so good to keep pests away, but also bring in pollinators, all down in between the rows, right? I got my starters at our local farm stores. Where's the okra? Robert, I have planted okra. The plants are starting to come up. It's not ready to harvest by a long shot. The plants just have their second set of leaves. Have MMT talk to Brandon Allen about chickens. He doesn't need to talk to anybody else about chickens. He can talk to me about chickens. Y'all, you just need to tell him, I need my chickens. I mean, come on. Have y'all seen the price of eggs? I understand, and I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that having a vegetable garden has saved me money on groceries. There's a lot of expense, even when you try to do it the cheap way, like me, to getting started. But the thing is, now that I've had proven plants, I can take the seeds from those plants, and then I have them for next year, right? So it will produce. Maybe not the first year, but eventually I'm going to get ahead of the game. So you guys just let me know. Anyway, got to hop off here because this is definitely going to die, and I've got to do some upplanting, because one more thing I want to show you. I ran out of time the other day. My grands got here. Over there in that wheelbarrow, 2 pepper plants, 2 chocolate mint plants, and rosemary that I have got to go stick in pots before it hates me and just totally quits on life. Anyways, guys, you've been awesome. Thanks for joining in. Tell your friends, come find me, come follow me, and we're going to have some gardening and baking fun. Talk to you later.